Alright, so in this video we're going to be talking about how to create models in Blender for Roblox. This is extremely important because Roblox modeling tools are not good. They're not even remotely close to being able to be usable for AAA games. The reason I say this is because you literally just have access to like basic unit instigations. You can't go into this part and change the vertices, you know what I mean? You can't move it a certain way. I mean, you guys probably already know that, but so I'm gonna open Blender right here. You can download it online. It's completely free. That's why I love Blender. How to model for studio, whatever. So you're gonna want to create a new scene. And so let's say, right, I don't know. I want to create like an axe, for example, right? So there's the workflow for doing this is you're gonna want to get your references. You're gonna want to get. And references are just basically images or things that help you understand what the object looks like in real life. And this kind of applies less to like concepts, but even with concept models, you're gonna want sketches, whatever. You want to know what this model looks like. You cannot go into it. In no day of the 8 years I've been modeling, I've never went to Blender and started modeling like that. Like no, that's ridiculous because you don't know what it looks like. Even if I want to build like even with something like a simple low poly axe, sure, you do this, right? But you won't be able to eyeball the exact dimensions. You won't be able to eyeball anything. That's none of y'all are that smart, bro. I promise you. So you're good. The first thing you want to do is grab some references, and I don't know if you can see it, but I have an app here called PureRef. PureRef is also completely free. You can download it, but basically what PureRef does is it lets you add images to your screen and then show it like. And I have multiple displays here, so it's probably easier for me, but I'm gonna look up and kind of show you what I mean. I don't know why my internet is being like this. Okay. So let me show you. So I have these like images on Google. Usually Google is like the easiest way to do this. You don't need to like get too fancy with like stock photos and whatnot. But you can just drag these in. And you want to make sure your references are like high quality. And I think it's just because my Wi-Fi is bad. It's doing this. Yeah. We're just gonna use these two photos for a quick example. So let's say you have like your images on the screen, right? And if you are like modeling something from real life, you're gonna want to make sure the model itself is like well defined. Because right now I just searched up axe, but obviously axes can vary in everything. So you want to look up like a certain like I don't know. You're gonna use like I don't know real life. So like I don't know axe, boom. What's a good? I want to model this specific axe, hyper tough axe. You're gonna want to like do some research on it. Camp axe. Boom. Now all your images are gonna look really consistent with each other, and even then some of these vary a little bit, but that's fine. But you want to consistency is key. You can't have like multiple references that are like completely different things, and then I mean you can. I'm not saying you can't, but it's just better practice to just take one real life thing and boom. And obviously I'm not doing that here, but I'm just trying to make this quick. I'm gonna move this off my screen, but you get the idea. You can use this as like a visual reference. And then on top of having visual reference, you're gonna want to have a blueprint to work off of. And what I mean by blueprint is you've probably seen it before with like cars, modeling cars, whatever. I don't know. Okay. So Shift A, image. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's being weird. I'm gonna scale up my reference here. So you're gonna add an image here. You're gonna add an image, and you're gonna Alt F3 or F3 clear rotation if it looks like that, and then you're just gonna want to keep it somewhere there. Why is it doing that? Okay. So now, and then also you're gonna make sure like this is scaled up and rotated to like exact dimensions. But again, right now I'm just toying around. I'm not really doing it. You're gonna want to look up like actual dimensions of the object. So now you're gonna want to start off and just start, modeling it. And you gotta think about modeling in terms of like pieces, right? Because right now, obviously, with this axe, you see that there's a handle and there's a blade, and then there's this thing. I'm probably not gonna model that, but you get the idea. This, little handle piece, I'm probably not gonna split up into multiple things. It's very obviously one simple object. Same thing with this blade here. It's one thing. So you're gonna want to stick to modeling like pieces. Because if I look at this entire axe as a whole, I'm gonna be really confused. And when I do model it as one thing, it's gonna look, I don't know, it's gonna look like fused, if that's a good word for it. There's some cases where you would want to do that, but we're just gonna stick to this. So looking at my reference, I can see that this axe is not a flat image. Obviously it is a flat image on here, but in real life an axe handle is not flat. It's something that you can hold. It has, depth to it. So I think the easiest way I can go about this is just creating a cross section that I can work off of. And so the way I want to do that is I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to do a couple of cuts here and there. What is going to use this? I'm going to do a low poly axe for this. Or you know what, I'm not going to do a low poly. And because of distortion, and you gotta think sometimes, because this is not curved. Because of distortion, the camera FOV, it looks like it is, but it's probably not in real life. So you're going to take this, and then I'm just going to model it. And the more you get in with Blender, the easier it is to just use your keybind. And you want to learn keybinds, because without it, I would be manually taking this. It would be really difficult and very tedious. You want to make sure your topology is clean. Oh, I made one mistake here. Oops. Okay, I'm scaling. I clicked X to scale on the X-axis, and the reason why I did this is because. Ooh, what is going on? Okay. The reason why I did that was if I do scale it, it scales on the Y-axis, and like sometimes that is a good thing. But as you can see here, like this bigger handle, if I scale it on the Y-axis, I mean, it's a little bit too thick for my liking. And I mean, this is a little bit of a worse example, but I mean, I think it's better if I just scale it on the X-axis first and then manually scale on the Y later. So you want to block out, because I'm not sticking to the exact curve. I'm just, because the reason why you want to do this is because you want to keep your topology really consistent. Because if I were to like, you know what I mean? It starts. I think you can tell really quickly like what it's gonna look like. It's not gonna look good. But yeah, you're gonna want to start, modeling along your reference. Do not eyeball this. Do it exactly as your reference has it, and again, that depends on your use case scenario, but you're gonna want to, keep it as accurate as possible. Now I start beveling everything, make it look smoother, whatever. Yeah. And here's where you pay attention to the smaller details. So now I have like a handle. This looks a little bit too thick. I'll probably do it a little bit like this. But yeah, it's kind of what the handle is gonna look like. But this is where you want to pay attention to the small details. The reason why I say that is because this handle, as you can see here, there's this little edge that is, because once you smooth and subdivide everything, it's gonna smooth, right? And you don't want that because there are these little edges like this that pop out. So that's where you kind of want to like, I don't know if I want to use subdivision for this, because with Roblox assets, you want to keep things a little bit less poly. Lower try count. We'll see. Will this look? Yeah, we can keep this as non-subdivided. But this is where you want to start creating like edge definition. So let's say like this. And sorry for the beginner, because this probably looks crazy to you right now, what I'm doing, but yeah. Okay. There's that edge that you want to look at, and sometimes it is kind of hard to see because this material is kind of cloudy and everything. But there's that edge material, and I also notice the end of this. Not only does it extend out a little bit, but you can see it kind of bevel into the inner. It's hard to explain, but I think you know what I mean. It starts going inwards. And that's where you would do something like that. You want to make sure your topology is clean here. And you would also probably want to do the same thing here. But yeah. That makes it smooth there. That's where I perfected a little bit more. I don't know. This side looks a little bit more flat, so you probably wouldn't have to do that there. I'll create a little bevel here. But yeah, this is what the handle kind of looks like for Roblox specifically. Yeah. What do I want to do here? I'll keep it like this. And I'm gonna remove cavity as well, because it is kind of odd. Yeah. We'll keep it here. So next you want to work on it. But yeah. So we have the handle right here. I'm gonna make the handle real quick. And also when you're like modeling, you're gonna want to start, or really anything, you want to like organize it well. So I'm gonna just move this here. Oops. Alright, let's do that. Okay, boom. Hide that. Boom. We'll start off with the plane. And I'm just gonna do the exact same thing I just did. And with an axe, it's really easy because it's a flat object. This changes if it's like a vehicle, like a gun or something, which we're gonna do in later videos. But right now, let's stick to the basics. Boom. Boom. I don't know how I'm gonna do this one. I guess I'll keep it like that. I'll bring that next to the topology here. Okay, we'll just do that. That makes the topology awful, but you know what? We'll just run with it. And take that. This is a really dumb way to do it, but that's just how I'm gonna do it for now, because I just don't feel like it. Yeah, we'll just, yeah, this is like a really bad example for topology, but we'll work with it. And then, because it's an axe, I'm just gonna extend that, and then boom. It's almost a boom. Not boom. This looks horrible. I can't tell if this handle is just really thick or if this is like flat, because it doesn't look like it's like. See, this is where the reference comes in handy. I'm looking at it right now, and it does look. Well, obviously it gets thinner here. I don't know why I didn't first of all think of that. But where does it get thinner? Okay, we're just gonna hit that with a proportional edit. We're gonna do this. Oops. Oh, I forgot about that. We'll hit it with, I don't know, there we go. Alright. And then it does, I'm not gonna use this for texturing. I'm just gonna show you. Looking at my reference, it does there's like a visual indent here, right? So it doesn't immediately go back down to like sharp immediately. It starts at this indent right here, and so we're just gonna do that. I'm gonna do that, and then scale it down a little bit more. Scale this up a little bit. I'm doing this really wrong, by the way, but I'm just trying to show an example. But yeah, it's kind of what it's gonna look like. I don't know why that indent isn't showing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh. I think it's just because it's so like, it's not even, the difference is so little. But you'll see it in like reflections and stuff, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm just gonna take this, and like I said, this is like a rough sketch of a model, so I'm not really taking it too seriously. But that's why the topology is so bad and everything. But yeah, oops, that looks, it's awful. It's because of this. Oh my god. Also because of this. You know what? We're just gonna leave it there. Okay, whatever. But yeah, let's save your little axe model. All right. Boom. Cool. Axe. Finish your model. One thing Roblox is kind of annoying with is if you don't have like a texture map for it, and you're just gonna like apply a simple color, you have to like import it as separate objects. I don't know why they do it like this. Or, sorry, you can export it as one object, but you have to like separate it in Blender. You can't like use the materials like the way that, you know, like Unity does it, which I wish it did, but you have to create it as two separate things. And you can easily do that, like, if you have two different, you can do that by just, yeah, so if you do separate materials here, all you're going to do is click P and then buy material, and it will automatically do that for you. But that's about it. Before you export, you go down to this and click face orientation. And as you can see here, the red means that it's, the normals are inverted, and I fixed that by clicking Shift N. And if that doesn't fix it, you just click inside and then it will invert it. But basically your normals, and I think there's an overlay for this somewhere. I'm not mistaken. Alright, it's somewhere. Yeah, it was somewhere here, but basically your normals are just what direction your face is facing. And as every model is made up of faces, I don't know if you know this already, it's pretty obvious. You know, maybe it's not obvious, but whatever. Each model has faces. And this face is pointing up. This face is pointing down. This face is pointing to this side. Simple concept. But sometimes it's gonna think that the faces are actually pointing the opposite direction, and this is gonna mess up the shading of the model, because it's gonna be shaded differently if it thinks it's like that. So like right here, you see all the faces are facing inside here, and that's a good thing because it's the inside of the model that you don't see. But yeah, make sure your faces are good, or face normals are good. Click File, Export, and then FBX. You can do some other, you can do OBJ or whatever, but I do FBX for everything. I exported it right there. I'm gonna go back to Roblox Studio, and like I said, this UI is horrible. It's right here. Import 3D. And click that, and then you're gonna import it. You can mess with these settings if you want. I don't think you need to. But yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention. You probably have to UV unwrap it if you want to add textures, which is really easy to do. It's a little bit too late now because I already, you know, imported it, but make sure you do that. And then there we go. That's your model. I don't know if this video was me yapping or if it actually helped you. Just let me know in the comments what you want to see. what you want to see modeled, whatever. And then we can do like a really in-depth video, or I mean, I'm gonna make them anyways, but just tell me what you want to see. But I want to definitely make some in-depth like full videos of me doing like an entire asset that like the player's gonna see up close, and you want it to look really good. Like an axe, if it's like a prop or something, you don't have to go like that deep about it. Like yeah, like you probably would texture it. This one's easy to texture actually. All you gotta do is this one's easy. And I'm gonna do it real quick just to show you what I made. All you gotta do is, I think that's like the 4th time I've said that, is this. Because it is like a flat, it's a flat type of thing, it's not like, dude, why is it like that? Alright, bro. Yeah. Alright, that looks fine on that end. We'll do the same thing here. You may be asking, why did I separate the 2 materials? 1, because I was too lazy to combine it, and 2, this could potentially, this material could potentially leak into this, and that's the only reason I didn't do it like that. If that makes any sense. Obviously the sides look a little bit weird, but you get the point. You can do it really easily like that, and then you. Oh, and I do have to talk about PBR later, but oh, see, that's what I meant by leaking. That, I think, oh, well, that's pretty easy. But it still leaks a little bit, whatever, I don't care. But yeah. So PBR, I'll go over that really quickly. PBR basically stands for, I don't even know. But basically each model, like whenever you texture it and you put it into a game, you want it to look realistic. And by realistic means not just adding textures like this. Realistic means like actual reflections, actual whatever, okay? So in Roblox specifically, you only have access to like certain 4 channels. And those channels are, and those are the most important, by the way, so don't freak out. Not 4, whatever. You get your base color, and that's pretty self-explanatory. That's the color that actually shows up on the surface. That's this. This is just your base color. You have your metallic, and that is also self-explanatory. You have your roughness. Roughness is like how glossy it is, or how much it reflects light. So for this wood, it's pretty rough. Light does not reflect off of it like that, unless you like polish it or something. It's gonna look non-reflectable. So you would raise the roughness, and obviously you would never set roughness to like 1 or 0. You would set it to like something near. But you get the idea. And then the axe is a little bit, in this one, it doesn't look like it's reflecting, but I assume like a metal point of an axe would probably reflect a little bit more. So I'm going to set this a little bit lower. And this is like unreasonably realistic, or unreasonably glossy, but I'm just doing it just to show an example. IQR, it's different. You're not going to see that in Roblox, don't worry about it. Alpha is how much it shows up. It shows up kind of weird here, but you have to, this is setting you have to do, or here. No, but whatever. Alpha is just how much it shows up. It's opacity, basically. And I think alpha... Oh, alpha you can do by just setting the transparency of the part. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. But if you wanted to set like a texture opacity map, you can do that. I think it shows it there. Emission is like how much light it emits. Also, you don't use that one that much. What's the last? And the last one's going to be your normals. This one is like really... This one is like insanely important for like realistic stuff. Usually when you have a texture, you're gonna have a normal map given to you, but if you don't, all you gotta do is go here, and then online you can search up normal to or image to normal map, and you're gonna get a converter that lets you do that. But for this one, it's gonna give you, you're gonna cut this height, reduce the strength a little bit, and then you're gonna get this whatever this is, this normal map. It looks kind of crazy, but you can see how like the bumps and reflections are kind of visualized on a 3D And I know it sounds like that, but it's not even that crazy. It just takes the lighter parts of the image, or the image that, I don't know the math behind it, but it does it, alright? And it gives you these bumps and reflections that you can use for your model. And basically, when you plug that into the normal, it basically effectively simulates those bumps and reflections via the light reflecting. So when the light goes onto the model, it reflects it differently based on the normal map, even though the actual mesh of the image doesn't change at all. You're going to do that for both of them. Take that over there. Reduce its strength. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm too lazy to like bake this into a thing, but like I said, you can search up image normal map and then take that, put it in Blender. Simple as that. But yeah, as you can see, this axe looks a lot more realistic. It doesn't look that realistic, but you get what I mean. It looks better. And you would import into here, and to put PBR textures, you would type in surface appearance, and then you would put in your color map, which is your base color. You would put in your emissive map. You would put in your metal normal roughness. Yeah, I already went over those. And if you want it to be transparent, you would click transparent. And then your transparency map would be baked in your opacity map. So like, basically, it would be baked into your base image texture. So like, your image texture would have all the colors and everything, and then it would also be transparent, or have an alpha in the image itself, and you could put it in there. You wouldn't have an actual transparency mask. And I'll probably show a little bit later how you would do that if you don't actually have it baked in already. The tint mask is I don't know, just lets you tint the color of the image. But yeah, that was kind of a simple video on how to like, not simple, but again, sorry if I yapped. But yeah, that is basically how you do like basically making models in Blender and then importing them in the studio. And that sort of workflow works for literally anything. But yeah.